a small rural town where life moved slowly and dreams often got buried beneath daily routines, lived a boy named Tarek. He wasn't the fastest, smartest, or most gifted in his class. In fact, most people didn't notice him at all. But Tarek had one thing few others did. He showed up. Every morning before school, while others were still sleeping, he practiced. It didn't matter what it was, math problems, running, or learning a new skill. He gave it time. Every day. Quietly. Without applause. His classmates laughed at him sometimes. "You're wasting your time," they said. "You'll never catch up to the talented ones." But Tarek didn't listen. He knew he wasn't naturally great, but he also knew something most people forget. Talent is a gift, but consistency is a decision. And decisions, unlike gifts, are always in your control. As the months passed, the differences started to show. The talented kids, those who had always excelled without trying, began to slow down. They relied on what came easy. But Tarek kept moving. He failed often, sometimes painfully. His scores weren't always high. His efforts didn't always shine. But every time he stumbled, he got back up. While others gave half their energy once in a while, he gave his full energy every single day. Teachers began to notice. Not because he suddenly became brilliant, but because he never stopped improving. Tarek didn't have dramatic breakthroughs. He had steady progress. And that was his power. It was slow, almost invisible at first, but it built something deeper than talent. It built trust in himself. He wasn't chasing moments of glory. He was building a foundation. And brick by brick, that foundation was becoming unshakable. One evening, Tarek sat alone in the school library, working through another problem set long after everyone else had gone home. The janitor paused and asked him, "Why do you stay so late every day?" Tarek smiled and answered, "Because I know I'm not the best, but I want to be better than I was yesterday." That mindset didn't earn him instant praise, but it earned him something better. Progress. Quiet. Steady. Real. He wasn't chasing recognition anymore. He was chasing growth. And slowly, without realizing it, he was becoming unstoppable. Not because of his skill, but because of his consistency. If stories like this speak to you, if you've ever felt like you're not the most talented but you refuse to give up, consider subscribing. This channel is for people who build themselves, one quiet effort at a time. And just like that, something began to shift. Not around Tarek, but within him. He no longer compared himself to others. He only asked one thing: did I show up today? And that single question, asked over time, was shaping him into someone powerful. Over time, the results of Tarek's quiet work began to surface. Not in dramatic moments, but in small, undeniable ways. He started finishing tasks faster, solving harder problems, running longer distances. The same teachers who once overlooked him now asked him to mentor others. His classmates, who used to mock his discipline, now came to him for help. But Tarek never changed his rhythm. He didn't let praise distract him, just as he hadn't let silence discourage him. He stayed focused on the same habit that built him, showing up no matter how he felt. There were still days he felt tired, days he doubted himself, but he kept moving forward because his strength wasn't built on emotion. It was built on decision. And that kind of strength, the kind you build slowly through repetition and resolve, is the kind that lasts when everything else falls apart. That was the secret, not to be the fastest or the smartest, but to be the one who doesn't stop. By the time final exams approached, something had become clear. Tarek had caught up, not because he suddenly became gifted, but because the gifted had slowed down, and he had never stopped. He didn't rely on bursts of motivation. He relied on habit. He didn't wait to feel ready. He acted every single day. That consistency had changed him, not just academically, but mentally. He didn't panic under pressure. He didn't fear failure. He had already failed, learned, and improved 100 times before anyone noticed. He was no longer chasing success. He was embodying it, quietly, patiently, relentlessly. When the results came, Tarek was near the top of his class. Some were shocked, but those who had watched closely knew the truth. This was never luck. It was built, earned, compounded effort over time. Tarek had become living proof that consistency, not talent, is the true edge. Because talent might start the race, but consistency finishes it. Years later, Tarek stood at a podium, not as the loudest voice in the room, but as the one with the most weight behind his words. He had built a career, not on speed, not on talent, but on relentless consistency. People asked him what his secret was. He smiled and answered the same way he had always lived. I just kept showing up. No magic, no shortcuts, just quiet discipline, repeated daily until it rewrote his entire story. He knew now that talent is exciting, but short-lived if left untrained. Consistency, on the other hand, is slow, but permanent. It's what turns average into excellence. It's what separates those who start from those who finish. Tarek never needed to be the best. He only needed to be better than who he was yesterday. And that mindset made him unstoppable. Not because he had something special, but because he built something solid. And now, ask yourself, are you waiting to feel ready? Or are you ready to show up, even when no one's watching?